first round of Nigeria Info's I Beg to Differ debate Tournament of Champions is over, and the new week offers more twists and turns. Here are the fixtures for Monday. At 3 p.m., Benedi Excel will meet Etomi Bernard Samuel on the topic. Should drug trafficking and abuse be addressed primarily through stricter law enforcement measures or through public health approaches? And at 4 o'clock, Mary Uke Ashia and Adio Afolarin will debate the topic. Should Nigeria prioritize economic growth over climate change initiatives? And at 5 p.m., Adekbetu Adenike and Akilo Sale Charles will face off on the topic. Should content creators be held to the same ethical standards as traditional media? Judges will save one loser on Monday. I am Yvonne Okhaifo. Join Femi, Obong-Daniels and me as we discover the wild card. I Beg to Differ Tournament of Champions. 16 debaters, now 12. One winner, 2 million naira. Supported by Chrisland Schools, Olaiya Foods, Obiwizi, Call to Fly and Biloxi. For sponsorship, send an email to info@nigeriainfo.fm. I Beg to Differ, a Tournament of Champions.
At long last, it begins. It all commenced with 16 bright, brilliant, and of course, blazing young students across the country. And now we are left with just 12. Welcome to week 2 of Nigeria Info's I Beg to Differ Students Debates. It's the National Tournament of Champions. And in this new week, we continue our journey towards picking Nigeria Info's debate champion of champions. There will be 3 debates today and tomorrow for this round of the debates, and the quarterfinals will commence on Wednesday. So we start at 3 p.m. today, we start at 3 p.m. tomorrow. If this is the first time you've tuned in, you can catch up on the last 3 days, or more like the last week of debates, on Nigeria Info's Facebook and YouTube social media handles. Facebook and YouTube. We're also streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. This particular broadcast, there will be 3 different live streams today, and this is the first of 3. Go to Nigeria Info right now on Facebook and YouTube. I'm Femi Obong-Daniels, and my co-host is the amazing Yvonne Okhaifo.
Thank you very much, Femi. Welcome to week 2 of the debate tournament. We'll start by acknowledging our sponsor and partners. Many thanks to our sponsor, Lesheho Microfinance Bank. Chrisland Schools are accommodating the champions from out of state. You'll hear more about them in the course of the debates. Olaiya Foods and Catering are catering for the debaters. Olaiya Foods and Catering make all kinds of local delicacies. You will also hear more about them as we continue. Call to Fly has partnered with us to transport the Abuja champions. Call to Fly caters to all your air transportation needs, everything from flight ticketing to freight and logistics. Also, many thanks to Biloxi for giving the contestants their tasty range of biscuits. Obiwizi is a long-standing partner of I Beg to Differ. You can check out their website, obiwizi.com. Of course, you will hear more about Obiwizi in the course of the debates. Massey Street Children's Hospital has also partnered with us to provide health care for the debaters should anyone, fall ill or be in need of any medical attention. For sponsorship or you'd like to partner with us, well, send an email to info@nigeriainfo.fm.
All right, guys. It's time for us to meet the debaters. But before we go to that point, a reminder that the winner will go home with 2 million naira. And as we had said before, you'll hear more. So it's 2 million naira, a Green Lion G20 Ultra tablet, and a Green Lion Ultra Active Smart Watch. The second place finisher goes home with 1 million naira, Green Lion Active Duo Earbuds Pro, and a Green Lion Sans Zero wireless headphones. Third place finisher goes home with 500,000 naira, a Green Lion Ultra Active Smartwatch, and a Green Lion Comfort Plus headphone. Obi Weezy is also giving gadgets to the other 13 participants. Remember, 13 of 16. Each of them will get a Green Lion Comfort Plus headphone as value. All right, that done. Here's now time to welcome our judges for this first debate. Dr. Chike Ngbadiche, head of the Department of Communication, Media and Cultural Studies at Pan-Atlantic University, Lagos, Nigeria, joins us now. And if you're following the live stream, you can see him. Judge Chike, please do a kind wave. Thank you very, very much. Also on the broadcast is George Ufoma Egbamuno, is the news manager, Cool FM, Wazobia FM, Nigeria Info. Thank you very much, George. You want to wave? Thank you very much. I see your fine faces all. Also, George on the afternoon, Judge Elizabeth Michael. Judge Elizabeth Michael, how are you doing? Fantastic. Okay. You've met the judges for this first debate. We will continue. As a quick reminder, these will be your three judges for this debate. Your diction judge is Yvonne Okhaifo, my co-anchor, and we'll take it from here. So let's do this. First up, though, I also want to maybe before I'll bring Yvonne in, but maybe we should introduce the students right now.
Yes, please.
This first debate is between Omar Benedi Excel and Etomi Bernard Samuel. Excel is 13 years of age. He's an SS1 student of Government Science Secondary School, Pyakasa, in Abuja. Up until this point, Excel has excelled over every opposition in his path, from the regional contest to his first round debate here. And he's here today, ably chaperoned by Mr. Dioni Elijah Osanemo, who is his teacher. Welcome to the debate, Excel.
Thank you very much.
Are you ready to go?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Hopefully you will have your headphones on today. Hopefully. His opponent, 14-year-old Etomi Bernard Samuel, is an SS1 student of Jewel Model School, also in Abuja. Samuel is here by virtue of a wild card, having lost his first round debate, but proving strong enough for a second chance. He's chaperoned by his mom, Mrs. Etomi Kemi. Excel, pardon me, Samuel, are you ready to go?
Yes, sir.
Brilliant. It's good to know you are alive and well and healthy and strong. Yvonne.
The debaters will get 3 minutes during each round of debate. Judges will award them marks not just for the number of points they make, but for how well they are able to buttress such points. During the rebuttal round, debaters are supposed to refute their opponent's points first before adding extra points. Doing otherwise will attract a penalty, and if debaters repeat a point already made during their presentation, they may or may not be awarded extra marks depending on whether or not they bring a fresh angle to that point. The judges will also judge their style based on the eloquence of their presentation and closing round. So debaters are advised to pay attention to how they open their arguments and also how they close.
All right, that done. You've met the debaters. You've also heard from Judge Yvonne. A quick reminder, as we now, well, everything has been decided. These students know how they will debate.
That's correct.
So let me remind you that should you tie during the course of this debate, you will engage in a tiebreaker round. It's a round in which you will switch sides, meaning you'll have 5 minutes to argue the position previously argued by your opponent. There will be 3 losers in today's debates. However, the judges will vote to retain only one of those 3 losers to advance to the finals along the winners. So even if the debate is not going as expected for you, do not forget to give it your all, remembering that that there is a chance, even if you do not win this debate, to still be in the third round, in the quarterfinals. Also, give it your all, even if you have the advantage. Remember, the 3 winning debaters will be graded first, second, and third, and the grading will affect the quarterfinal pairings. Is that clear? All right. Having said that, remember that you are guessing, not deciding how the judges will judge. So follow Nigeria Infos I Beg to Differ on Instagram, Nigeria Info at Nigeria Info IBTD to get the latest updates, behind the scene content, and insider access to everything happening on the show. Okay? Remember, you will vote for who you enjoyed more, but the judges will determine who wins the debate.
Correct. The topic for this hour is: should drug trafficking and abuse be addressed primarily through stricter law enforcement measures or public health approaches? Last week, the debaters got a chance to decide how they would argue. I will start with Benedi. What side are you arguing? Are you supporting or opposing the motion? So Benedi will say that drug trafficking and abuse should be addressed primarily through stricter law enforcement measures, while Etomi will say that drug trafficking and abuse should be addressed primarily through public health approaches. You know your topic, you know your side, you know the rules. It is now time to debate.
And just before the debate starts, one last time, Excel, I am recommending you use your headphones and you come closer to your microphone. I'm struggling to hear you.
Okay, sir.
Good. All right, Yvonne, we're good to go.
All right, then. The motion supporter is Excel. Excel is the motion supporter. Excel is going to say that drug trafficking and abuse should be addressed primarily through stricter law enforcement measures. Excel, you will now get 3 minutes to open your argument.
The 2024 theme for the United Nations Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking says that the evidence is clear. Invest in prevention. This call for stricter law enforcement emphasizes on the need for a decisive action against drug abuse and illicit trafficking in society. With this, I bid a pleasant evening, rather afternoon, to our unbiased judges, distinguished moderators, adept timekeeper, co-debaters, skilled staff from Nigeria Info FM, and valued audience. I am Benedi Excel of Government Science Secondary School, Pyakasa Maitama of Abuja, and I am here to advocate for stricter law enforcement to tackle the scourge of drug trafficking and abuse in society with the following points of mind. First, effective deterrence. Stricter law enforcement effectively deters drug trafficking and abuse. In 2020, the NDLEA's success with over 9,000 arrests and 1,000 convictions highlights the agency's role in instilling fear of severe legal consequences amongst potential offenders. Second, disrupting disrupting drug trafficking networks. Stricter law enforcement and robust law enforcement has the opportunity to dismantle drug trafficking networks, as illustrated by Nigeria's NDLEA. In 2021, the agency seized over 2.7 million kilograms of illicit substances, which significantly curbed the flow of drugs. Third, it reduces the availability of hard drugs and illicit substances. Stricter law enforcement reduces the availability of drugs by cracking down on traffickers and dealers. Singapore's tough drug laws exemplifies this, resulting in one of the lowest drug abuse rates, less than 0.01% annually. Additionally, stricter measures protect youths from drugs, as 14.4% of Nigerians aged 15 to 64 had already used drugs as of 2019. Hence, the NDLEA stricter measures aim to curb the potential 40% rise in these numbers as predicted by the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crimes. Moving on, stricter law enforcement reduces overdoses, as illustrated in Portugal, where Portugal saw an 85% drop in overdose-related deaths, which was significantly illustrated by stricter drug control policies between 2001 and 2012. Not only that, but also stricter law enforcement supports treatment and rehabilitation, as it allows for resources to be redirected towards drug treatment programs. In the United States, intensified operations by law enforcement have allowed for greater funding towards drug treatment programs, improving the long-term recovery outcome. Furthermore, stricter law enforcement enhances societal stability, as it allows law enforcement agencies to maintain social order and reduce crime rates. The NDLEA's intensified operations have illustrated this, which has proven that stricter law enforcement allows for there to be the creation of a safer society where public health can thrive. Next, stricter law enforcement enhances border security effectively, as stricter law enforcement prevents the illegal importation of hard drugs and illicit substances into the country. The NDLEA has illustrated this, as it seized billions of nairas worth of drugs at Nigerian borders, which significantly curbed the inflow of drugs into Nigeria, and it also helps to prevent the flow of drugs from Nigeria outwards. Lastly, stricter law enforcement allows for internet trafficking to be curbed. Stricter law enforcement and law enforcement agencies undercover operations have allowed for intensified operations to disrupt dark web networks and prevent trafficking online. The Australian Federal Police's Operation Ironside illustrates this. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. That's 13-year-old Omar Benedi Excel, SS1 student of Government Science School, Pyakasa, Abuja.
Now his opponent, Etomi Bernard, will get 3 minutes to open his argument. Etomi Bernard is a student of Jewel Model School, Abuja. Etomi, you have 3 minutes. Your time starts now.
Good evening, Pastor Panel of Judges, accurate timekeeper, adept moderator, dedicated staff of Nigeria Info FM, distinguished ladies and gentlemen out there, and not to forget my co-debater. I'm Etomi Bernard from Jewel Model School, Schoolwa, Abuja, standing against the motion. Drug trafficking should be addressed primarily through stricter law enforcement. According to the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, drug trafficking can be defined as the sales, cultivation, and distribution of certain chemicals which are subject to drug prohibition laws, while drug abuse can be defined as the use of certain chemicals for creating pleasurable effects on the brain. Here are the reasons why I strongly oppose this motion. 1. Ineffectiveness of stricter law enforcement. The United States war on drugs exemplifies the failure of relying primarily on law enforcement. Despite spending $1 trillion since its inception in the 1970s, drug abuse and trafficking has not significantly decreased. Instead, this approach has led to the US having one of the highest rates of incarceration in the world, with over 2.3 million people behind bars, many for non-violent drug offenses. 2. Proven effectiveness of public health approaches. Adopting a program like the Needle Exchange Program will help in greatly addressing drug abuse. The Needle Exchange Program is a social service that allows injecting drug users access to clean and unused hypodermic needles and associated paraphernalia at little or no cost. These programs have been shown to reduce the spread of infectious diseases such as HIV by up to 33%. The good thing about these programs is that they link drug users to addiction treatment services, thereby reducing overall drug dependency. 3. Addressing root causes. Researchers have shown that drug abuse and trafficking are often linked with 1. Poverty, lack of education, and unemployment. Law enforcement does nothing to address these underlying issues. Instead, public health approaches that provide education, job training, and support should be implemented in order to curb drug trafficking and abuse before it starts. This has worked in many countries such as Peru, Ukraine, and the Philippines, including Nigeria, for human rights consideration. Stricter law enforcement asymmetrically affects marginalized communities, exacerbating social inequalities. For example, according to the National Institute of Health, African Americans are nearly 6 times more likely to be incarcerated for drug offenses than white Americans. Also, international consensus. The United Nations advocates for public health awareness over punitive measures. They argue that drug addiction should be treated as a health issue and not as a criminal one, emphasizing the need for comprehensive health and social services. 6. Reducing stigma. Public health approaches help reduce stigma by encouraging people to seek treatment without fear of legal repercussions. The substance can lead to a 30% increase in people seeking treatment for drug abuse. 7. Long-term solutions. Public health approaches can provide long-term solutions by promoting education, community resilience, and prevention. The National Institute on Drug Abuse has found out that school-based preventions are likely to reduce youth drug use by 20 to 30%. I hope I've been able to convincingly argue that drug trafficking and abuse cannot be addressed primarily through stricter law enforcement. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. You have heard the first round of debates.
That's correct.
We'll take a very brief break and we'll come back for the rebuttal round. Stick around.
Obiwizi is Nigeria's pioneer e-commerce platform for pre-owned gadgets. They are Nigeria's home of gadgets with warranties, where you can purchase all your favorite devices and quality accessories, both brand new and pre-owned. You can also trade in your older device for a newer model in a simple and convenient way. To crown it all, when you decide to sell off that device of yours to meet that important cash obligation, Obiwizi is your guy, literally your guy. With offline and pickup stores in Ikeja, Lekki, Abuja, and Benin, Obiwizi delivers nationwide. So make sure you are following Obiwizi on Instagram at Obiwizi Backup Page. Yes, that is on Instagram. You could send an email to the email address info@obiwizi.com or go to the website at www.obiwizi.com. They are also on X at Obiwizi, literally Obiwizi. Obiwizi is spelled Obiwezi. Yes, Obiwizi. Follow them on all pages and of course all social media platforms and get that device of your dreams.
Thanks to all our partners and sponsors. Yes, Obiwizi, Olaya, Chrisland schools. Who am I leaving out?
We also have Massey Hospital, Massey Children's Hospital, Massey Street Children's Hospital, and of course our sponsor, Lesheho. Lesheho is a microfinance bank. Lesheho has sponsored the tournament.
Bit more to talk about as we go on. But for now, it's time for the rebuttal rounds between 13-year-old Omar Benedi Excel and 14-year-old Etomi Bernard Samuel.
Correct. The topic is, should drug trafficking and abuse be addressed primarily through stricter law enforcement measures or public health approaches? Well, Omar Benedi says drug trafficking should be addressed primarily through stricter law enforcement measures, while Etomi Bernard says drug trafficking should be addressed primarily through public health approaches. Remember, we are streaming on Facebook and on YouTube, so join the live streams to catch on. Well, it is now time for the rebuttal rounds, and for this round, we will revert to the motion. Opposer Etomi Bernard, you will now get 3 minutes to refute your opponent's points before adding extra points if you want, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Good day, everyone. As I've greeted before, I still remain Etomi Bernard from Jumelo Schools, opposing the motion. First, my opponent, my Nigerian brother, said that it serves as an effective deterrent. But do you know that you said that it serves as the effective deterrent? But do you know that studies show that 76.6% of people arrested for drug-related crimes are rearrested again within 5 years of release, indicating that punitive measures do not address drug health issues. Also, you said that it disrupts the network of drug trafficking. By disrupting network, I don't understand what you mean, because the main causes of drug trafficking and abuse in our dear motherland, Nigeria, is 1, corruption, 2, lack of education, 3, unemployment. We have not addressed these problems, and yet we are saying that we'll be able to address drug trafficking. A senior police officer was arrested in 2012 for supporting criminal elements in trafficking of drugs. This police officer was just released within 12 years. Look at it from this angle. Someone is caught for drug trafficking. Something that is meant to be done the other way around. Rather, if people that engage in drug trafficking are taken to rehabilitation centers, because the thing that disrupting the network does not mean that we have addressed the root issues. By cutting down the stems of a tree, we can't expect a tree to die without even touching the tap roots. So that's for that. Also, he said that it protects youth for drugs. Do you know about peer influence? Let's say, for example, Mr. A is a drug user. Mr. A is arrested and Mr. A is released again. Mr. A, does that mean that by putting Mr. A in prison, it has affected Mr. A's mindset or the way that he sees life, or it has even affected his drug use? No. When he comes out, he has not received any treatment or anything that is pertaining to his problem, and yet they are arresting him. People that should be arrested are these drug traffickers and not the users. These users deserve a better life. Some of them are potential people that can become big people in the world and address many problems on earth. Also, he said that it enhances border security. If let's say that, for example, the police or any armed forces is able to control this menace in the society, isn't there a possibility of them trafficking drugs underground? There is a high possibility of them trafficking drugs underground, as they would employ any strategy to be able to sell their drugs in order to make profit. Also, you said that it enhances stability. Rather, this enhances instability because
Land. Because what? Okay. Well, when you hear the bell, land on the point you are making before you go, okay? Don't just leave us hanging. All right? But well done to you. Now to your opponent. Omar Benedi Excel, you will get 3 minutes to refute your opponent's point. Your time starts now.
I'm Omar Benedi Excel, and I find it imperative that I address some of the points my co-debater has attempted to advance. In your third point, you spoke on the fact that stricter law enforcement doesn't address the root causes. Well, you fail to understand that the physical, the mental, and the socio-economic aspects of addiction are not the root causes of drug trafficking. Rather, the root cause of trafficking is the traffickers, the people who supply these drugs. And if we're able to cut down on their percentages, we will ensure that drug trafficking is deterred in society. In the United States of America, the war on drug trafficking organizations has been illustrated to be a lot more profitable than public health approaches. On your second and fifth point, you identified on the fact that drug addiction and drug abuse shouldn't be addressed as a criminal offense. Rather, it should be addressed as a health issue. Well, I'd like to inform you that if we address the demand chain of the demand chain of drugs, which are the individuals who use drugs, the abusers, what of the peddlers, what of the traffickers who rely on this to make their dress, we'll be focusing on the demand chain, the victims of drug trafficking, rather than criminalizing the actual individuals, the people who traffic these drugs, who peddle them, who make them present in our society. And by addressing drug trafficking, by focusing on drug traffickers and cutting down on their strategies, as illustrated by Operation Pipeline and the Australian Federal Police's Operation Ironside, we can ensure that the demand chain is left hanging, which will lead them to resort to healthy measures. In your first point, you said that millions of people that the United States has the largest number of incarcerations due to overcrowding of prisons and inequalities in the system of law enforcement. Well, there have been law courts that emphasize on accountability and punishment, as well as rehabilitation and reintegration. And by doing this, by emphasizing on such measures, we can ensure that drug traffickers and drug abusers are not only punished for their crimes, but rather they are reintegrated into society as profitable members of society. Well, on your first point, you spoke on the fact that stricter law enforcement may exacerbate racism, as African American traffickers and dealers are often arrested more than the indigenous of the United States. Well, stricter law enforcement was never aimed to target marginalized religions or ethnic groups. Rather, stricter law enforcement was aimed to cut down on drug trafficking. And I believe that by proper inward looks on our systems of drug trafficking and proper scrutiny by the strategies that have been put in place, we can ensure that stricter law enforcement is profitable rather than creating other vices in society. Lastly, on your seventh point, you said that public health approaches have a tendency for long-term profitability. Well, I'd like to inform you that the Nigerian National Drug Use Survey in 2020 identified that despite public health measures, drug abuse remains prevalent, and if it is not addressed, and without stricter law enforcement, this will remain a reality. But through stricter law enforcement, the immediate deterrence provided by stricter law enforcement allows public health to thrive in a safer and conducive society. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, What a round this has been. You have heard the presentation and rebuttal rounds. You will now hear the closing round. This is Nigeria Info's I Beg to Differ National Debate Competition. This is the Tournament of Champions. There is definitely no slowing down.
We'll take a quick break. When we come back, closing rounds.
Indeed.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you are looking for a place to get yourself local delicacies at a very, very affordable rate, then look no further than Olaiya. Yes, your number one plug for local meals and delicacies is here. You can find Olaiya foods at any of these locations. Olaiya is located at number 64B Emma Abimbola Street, Fola Oshibo in Lekki Phase 1, Lagos. You could call that restaurant for delivery at 0811-143-4031. You could also get Olaiya foods in Victoria Island at number 67 Kufu Abayomi Street, Victoria Island, Lagos. Call 0808-712-6281 for your deliveries. You could also find Olaiya foods in Surulere at number 109 Akerele Street in Surulere, Lagos. Call 0704-810-1214 for your deliveries. Or you could go to Ikeja and get yourself some Olaiya food at number 25 Adeni Jones Street, Ikeja, Lagos. Call for delivery at 0816-244-9233. Don't forget, Olaiya Foods is your number one plug for local meals and delicacies.
Welcome back. Time now for the closing arguments between Omar Benedi Excel and Etomi Bernard Samuel. We've had those two tough rounds. If you haven't been a part of it so far, well, you've missed quite a bit, but there's still much more to come. We're streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. Nigeria Info, you cannot miss it. You also get the opportunity to vote your choice of preferred debater.
That's right. Remember, you were also guessing how you think the judges will judge this debate and who you think will win this round based on the judges' judgment, but you are not deciding, who will win. They're two different things. You're just guessing, okay? Now that we've said that, we can go straight into the closing rounds of the debate. And for this round, we will revert to Omar Benedi Excel. He is the motion supporter. Omar Benedi will now get 3 minutes to close his argument.
I remain on Benedi Excel, and I find it imperative that I address some of the misconceptions that may have been raised by my opponent's point. Well, in your rebuttal rounds, your first point was an attack towards mine, which was the effective deterrence, and you said that punitive measures were not helpful in places like the United States due to the fact that a few years later, you said 5 years later, after incarceration, they were reincarcerated. But I'd like to inform you that in the places like Norway, where humane law enforcement measures have been applied, their recidivism rates have been decreased significantly. I'd like to identify that in the past, Norway had recidivism rates. Norway and the US had recidivism rates of 65% or more, but after humane and stricter law enforcement measures, their recidivism rates were reduced to a whopping 20%, which identifies the fact that your point against me was irrelevant. Well, in your second point against mine was that the disruption of drug trafficking networks was not effective. You seem to have had misconceptions. When in places like the US, as seen in the El Chapo case, targeting high-level players in the drug abuse world is a lot more effective in deterring drug abuse and trafficking in the world overall. Well, you also said that you didn't understand what I meant by protection of youth, that peer pressure may not have protection of youth. Well, Operation Pipeline, Operation Ironside, which have been conducted, have also cancelled out peer pressure. Peer pressure can be positive and negative, and peer pressure is irrelevant to this current context because, as I said, it is not the youth, it is not teenagers who are victims of drug abuse. It is youth, 15 to 64 aged people who are already older, people who have the ability to make decisions for themselves. Those are the individuals who usually fall victims, and rather than criminalizing them, we should be able to emphasize on punishment and reintegration. While punishing them, we should be able to ensure that these people are capable of returning to society as effective members. Drug trafficking is a complex and multifaceted issue that has plagued society for decades, threatening public health, security, and social stability. Law enforcement is not just a reactive measure to drug trafficking use and abuse, it is a proactive shield that protects the fabric of society. In 2024, the NDLEA has shown that stringent law enforcement measures have driven drug trafficking and abuse to the barest minimum, illustrating the fact that addressing the supply side is essential for lasting change and effectiveness. And while public health strategies may focus on treating the symptoms of drug abuse and trafficking, law enforcement strikes at the heart of the issue, preventing the initial spread and disrupting the networks that fuel this crisis. The immediate deterrence provided by law enforcement allows for a stable environment wherein public health efforts can thrive safely in a safer community and society. The evidence is clear. To curb the cycle of drug trafficking and abuse in Nigeria, we must prioritize law enforcement as the foundation of our approach. Abraham Lincoln once said, the best way to predict the future is to create it. Let us create a future where law enforcement and public health work hand in hand, that in a way that the strength of the law prevents the pain that medicine must heal. Prevention is better than cure, and law enforcement is the pillar that holds the line. Thank you.
Right on time. Well, Etomi Bernard will now be extended the same courtesy. Bernard, you have 3 minutes to wrap up your argument. Your time starts now.
While stricter law enforcement may seem to be the long-term solution to drug trafficking, this approach is not only ineffective, but can also lead to unexpected negative consequences. Focusing primarily on stricter law enforcement often shifts the drug trade further underground, thereby making it dangerous and harder to control. Also, this implementation of law enforcement on drug abuse can lead to marginalized communities, marginalization of vulnerable communities, social stigmatization, and lack of employment, which exacerbates the issue rather than resolving it. In addition, by prioritizing stricter law enforcement, we divert essential resources from other effective strategies like public health approaches, education, and socioeconomic support. By adopting public health approaches, we are not only able to create a better future for drug users, but also remind them that there is a world out there for them to explore and become effective members to change the world. In conclusion, while law enforcement might be a component of addressing drug abuse, it is not the primary focus. Rather, we should focus on a holistic approach that emphasizes on public health services, education, and socioeconomic support to be able to tackle the complex issue of drug use in our society and create an equitable future for everyone to have a chance to show their potential. Thank you.
Well done. I don't care what the final result of this debate has been. But I am proud,
tremendously
privileged to witness this debate between a 13-year-old and a 14-year-old. Omar Benedi XL of Government Science School, Pyakasa, Abuja, 13, SS1 student, and Etomi Bernard Samuel, 14-year-old SS1 student of Jewel Model School, Kubwa, Abuja. Thank you for blessing the studios and our audience with your brilliance. You've played your part. It doesn't matter what happens from here on. You will leave this studio today with as much pride as you came with. Congratulations to both of you. We await the decision of the judges, who must be collating as we speak. In a brief while, we will share with you. First up, though, a quick break, and we will be right back.
For nearly 5 decades, Chrisland has been unwavering in its commitment to advancing humanity through quality all-round education, dedicated service, and setting a benchmark in the educational sector. Chrisland has been dedicated to nurturing young minds, shaping futures, and fostering a culture of excellence. With 6 nursery and primary schools, as well as 6 secondary schools and a 6th form college, as well as a university to go with it, Chrisland remains a prominent educational conglomerate in Nigeria. Our schools are strategically located in safe and conducive environments in Lagos as well as Abuja. You have the Chrisland Nursery School in VGC, the Chrisland Primary School inside VGC also, the Chrisland School in the Festac area, yes, and of course the Chrisland Ladipo Uluwole location in Ikeja. There's also Chrisland in Lekki, Lagos, yes. There's also Chrisland in Okbebi, And the 6 secondary schools are, of course, Chrisland High School Ikeja, Chrisland High School VGC, Chrisland High School Festac area, and also Chrisland High School Lekki. There's also the Chrisland School in Abuja, as well as the Chrisland High School in Abuja as well, located at Cadastral Zone C10, Wumba District of Apo Mechanical Village in Abuja. There's also the Chrisland School in Katampe, Abuja. Find that at number 5 Samuel Oladele Crescent by Gishiri bus stop opposite Nikon Junction, Katampe District, inside the FCT Abuja. For parents who require a safe and conducive boarding school for their children, our fully equipped boarding colleges are situated in serene and safe environments in Lagos and Abuja will give them just the home away from home experience that they are seeking. These schools are, of course, Christian College Idimu, Chrisland College Katampe Abuja, and also you could visit the 6th form college, that is Chrisland Pre-Degree College at number 4 Olubumi Owa Street off Admiralty Way, Lekki, Phase 1, Lagos. Let your word be part of a legacy built on excellence. For further details and inquiries, visit our website at www.chrislandschools.com or call 0906 313 5544 or follow or like on social media on any of these platforms. On Facebook, it is Chrisland Schools, literally Chrisland Schools. On Instagram, it is at Chrisland Insta. On YouTube, it is Chrisland Schools, and on X it is Chrisland Info. On LinkedIn it is Chrisland Schools, and on Threads it is Chrisland Insta. Chrisland Schools, show forth the light.
Welcome back. We are doing our final collations. The judges are almost entirely done, but just before we go on, our diction judge will quickly go through your diction infractions, which are their reaction, which in themselves are deduction inducing. So
It
let's
is
go.
how I don't know. I mean, don't be scared. Why do you guys have that? You have a grim look on your faces right now. You're like, oh, not again. But
All
well,
right, let's go.
I am here. Look, first of all, well done to both of you. Benedi, I noticed great improvement from the previous time. You've done such a great job. Well done to you. To you, Excel. I beg your pardon. Etomi Bernard, I'm talking to you. You've done well. There's been some significant improvement in the way that you presented yourself, especially because you spoke directly into the microphone. And to you, Etomi, Excel, welcome back. Well done. You were marvelous the last time and, of course, in this time. But here are a few things to note, which I hope that whoever progresses to the next round, you pay attention. You must pay attention to subject-verb agreement. You've made some really obvious infractions in that regard, both of you. Okay, singular subject, singular verb, plural subject, plural verb. If you're wondering what the subject is, the subject of a sentence is the part that comes before the verb. Okay, it's usually the doer of the action. All right, so that part comes before the verb. Therefore, if that subject refers to one person, the verb should be singular to both of you. It is emphasize. Okay, emphasize is a transitive verb. It takes a direct object. So there is no need to say emphasize on. Okay, let me emphasize the need. It emphasizes the need. Okay, there is no need for on when you use emphasize. All right, it is also overdose. There is nothing like overdoses except you're referring to the simple present tense. Okay, if you're referring to the singular simple present tense, the singular case, then of course you can say, that kind of thing. But usually, in fact, it is unheard of to say overdoses. Okay, it is overdose. All right, different cases of overdose. If you want to talk about more than one overdose, you can say different cases or instances, okay, of overdose. Again, it is themselves. Excel, not their self. Excel, it is themselves. Okay, to you, Benedi, to you, Etomi Bernard, it is the same thing that I've just said. The United Nations refers to a body. All right, a body. So that's why they call the United. It's a body. All right. Of course, it is research, not researches. Okay, you can say research studies have shown. It is debater, not debater. Okay, debater, not debater. I believe I have addressed the salient infractions that I caught.
All right, thank you very much. Having done that, it is time for us to look at your final score to look at the decision reached by the judges. We're going to have to breeze past these scores, so pay attention. You had 3 judges on this debate. Judge Ama unavoidably absent for this hour. So you had Judge Ufoma, Judge Elizabeth, and Chief Judge Chike. For the presentation round, Excel. Grand total from the 3 judges, 58.5 points. Bernard Samuel, 54 points. For your rebuttal rounds, Excel, 33.5 points. And Bernard Samuel, 28.5. Yvonne, you want to take the closing style?
Well, for closing here, we see a grand total of 26 from all 3 judges awarded to Omar Benedi Excel, and 24, a grand total of 24 from all 3 judges awarded to Etomi Bernard.
How about style?
For style, we have a total of 26.5 points versus 22.5 points in favor of Excel.
For your diction infractions, you have a total points deduction of 5 points, Excel, and 3.5 points for Bernard Samuel, which brings the total score of this debate to 139.5 to 123.5 to the winner of this debate, Omar Benedi Excel. Congratulations.
And to you, Etomi Bernard, do not lose faith, okay? Keep the faith alive. You just may be the wild card the judges will vote to keep, okay? But even if things do not go your way, you have been a formidable debater, and I have been tremendously proud of you. I am proud of you, especially because you took note of most of the corrections from last week, and you came here and put up a much better fight. So well done to you.
Congratulations to you. You will compete on Wednesday. You will find out who your opponent will be today, as well as your topics and your position before the end of today. As a reminder, all the 4 qualifiers from today's debates will be paired together on Tuesday.
Correct.
So there is the possibility that you might meet somebody in the quarterfinal whom you've already met.
Correct.
Be prepared. Thank you very much. We take a quick break.
Yeah, but before we do, Femi, we have results from the polls on Facebook, on X rather, and on YouTube. So this looks like it is on X. Oh, yes, it is. 60.9% voted that the judges would give the victory to Omar Benedi Excel, while 39.1% voted that the judges would give the victory to Etomi Bernard. And on YouTube, 86% voted that the judges would give the results to the victory rather to Omar Benedi, and 13% voted, or rather guessed, that the judges would give the victory to Etomi Bernard.
All right. That said, congratulations once again, and congratulations both of you, even to Etomi Bernard Samuel. This was a brilliant
I thoroughly
debate.
enjoyed myself.
Just
thoroughly enjoyed listening to both of them.
Just sad somebody had to lose, but it is not the end. 2 more debates to go after the first one down. When we come back from this break, we will get ourselves into a big matchup
Femi, by the way, the judges agree that this was a very good debate.
Very brilliant.
They agree that this was truly good. I thoroughly enjoyed listening to both of you. Nigeria, remember that after the 5 o'clock debate, you will get a chance to guess whom the judges would retain as the wild card. So get ready for that. Thank you so much,
You're
gentlemen.
going to save one of the 3 losers. Up next, a feisty battle, I would predict.
Oh, that's
between
right.
Mary Uke Ashia and Adio Afolari. All of that right after this time out.
The first round of Nigeria Info's I Beg to Differ debate.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's